not working for me right now.
Wait, yeah, my website just crashed too.
Could just be the internet connection.
No, I'm connected to the internet. I won't let me refresh the page.
Yep, it's not going through. I keep getting requests timed out.
This is weird.
Now the group doesn't know yet, but they've just been DDoSed. Now you might be wondering, what does that mean? Well, DDoS stands for Distributed Denial of Service. It's a type of cyber attack that disrupts websites, web applications, or networks to prevent users from buying products, using services, or getting information.
In 2017, according to a web analytics and survey conducted by Newster and Harris Interactive, 849 out of 1,010 enterprise companies, which is 84%, have experienced at least one DDoS attack in the last 12 months, which is an increase compared to 73% in 2016. This indicates how the prevalent threat of DDoS is not only continuing, but growing. DDoS attacks are also extremely costly. Newster states that respondents to the survey have collectively lost over $2.2 billion during the past 12 months, which is a minimum of $2.5 million across 849 companies. When internet bandwidth, CPU, and RAM capacity become overwhelmed with request websites, applications and websites could be taken offline. The consequences include loss of confidential data, loss of productivity, such as an online portal, loss of revenue, and diminishing stock prices. Besides money, there are also quantifiable impacts of DDoS attacks, such as reputational damage, which can cost organizations potential business, partners, and clients. The threats of DDoSing grows as attacks grow in size and complexity.
So how much does it cost to DDoS? According to the article in Security Affair, Pierluigi mentioned that the DDoS attack continued to be a profitable business in the cyber criminal underground. It is estimated that the cost to power a DDoS attack using a cloud-based botnet of 1,000 desktops is about $7 per hour, which is actually pretty cheap. A DDoS attack service typically goes for $25 an hour. This means that the expected profit for recruits is around $18 per hour. Prices are highly variable. A DDoS attack can cost from $5 for a 300-second attack to $400 for 24 hours. Research shows that a targeted DDoS against a company can cost up to $1,000 or millions too.
Next we'll be talking about the types of DDoS attacks. According to various sites, DDoS attacks can be first broken down into two main categories. The first type is a connection-based DDoS attack. This attack occurs when a connection is established between a client and server. The second type is a connectionless DDoS attack. This attack is where a connection does not need to be formed before a sender can send data packets to a receiver. A DDoS attack can then be broken down into three broad categories, depending on the area of the network infrastructure where the attack is focused. The first type is a volumetric attack, which is connectionless. These are also known as floods. The goal of a flood is to cause congestion by sending so much traffic that it overwhelms a website. These attacks are typically executed using botnets, which is an army of computers that have been infected by malicious software. These botnets are then controlled as a group by the hacker. Second type of DDoS attack is called a TCP state exhaustion attack. The focus of this attack is actual web servers, firewalls, and load balancers to disrupt connections, which result in exhausting the number of concurrent devices the connections to the devices is able to support. The third type of DDoS attack is an application layer attack, which is connection-based. These are also known as Layer 7 attacks. They specifically target weaknesses in an application or server with the goal of establishing a connection and exhausting it by monopolizing processes and transactions. These sophisticated attacks are hard to detect because not many machines are required for an attack, which generates a low traffic rate that appears to be legitimate.
One of the biggest historical examples of DDoS attack took place in February of 2018. According to the Cloudflare.com, this attack targeted GitHub, which is a popular online code management service used by millions of developers. At its peak, this attack saw incoming traffic at a rate of 1.3 terabytes per second, sending packets at a rate of 126.9 million per second. This was a memcached DDoS attack, so there were no botnets involved. Instead, the attackers leveraged the amplification effect of a popular database caching system known as memcached. By flooding memcached servers with spoofed requests, the attackers were able to amplify their attack by a magnitude of about 50x. Luckily, GitHub was using a DDoS protection service, which was automatically alerted with 10 minutes of the start of the attack. This alert triggered the process of mitigation, and GitHub was able to stop the attack quickly. The world's largest DDoS attack only ended up lasting about 20 minutes. This also shows the importance of cybersecurity protection.
Another historical event of DDoSing was in August of 2016 during the Rio Olympics. They suffered from a 540 gigabytes per second DDoS attack. This attack was from several anonymous hackers across the globe and started several months before the games. Due to the unpreparedness of the defenders, the hackers were able to succeed. To carry out an attack on the server and deny service to another normal user, either a system or a group of systems simultaneously transmits an enormous amount of traffic to the server. The server cannot respond to the massive traffic and therefore denies service to clients or, in the worst case, even crashes. When the Olympics started, the attackers increased their efforts significantly, generating the longest duration sustained being 500 gigabytes per second.
So how do we prevent DDoS attacks? Well, according to Joe Burrow in his article on Blogger's Path, he mentioned several ways to prevent it. First of all, stopping DDoS attacks requires preparation. If you're not prepared for the attack, you will be knocked over. You must take steps to increase resiliency and availability. For technical solutions, up-to-date practices for your network infrastructure and DNS must be used. This will help mitigate risk and keep the online resources and internal network working perfectly without the risk of interruption. Identifying DDoS attacks early will provide the best chance of taking necessary action. By first configuring your routers, it can increase the system's security level, and by setting traffic limits, it can prevent the network or servers from being overwhelmed.
Other technical solutions besides securing your network infrastructure include building redundancy into infrastructure, which essentially spreads servers across multiple data centers. This will make it harder for someone to successfully attack, as data centers have diverse paths, and these data centers have no notable bottlenecks or single points of failure. Next, we should increase the bandwidth to absorb a large volume of traffic if necessary. Third, we should make use of DDoS protection and mitigation services, such as Cloudflare. Cloudflare filters all requests to a website. If a request is from a hacker, it will get dropped, but if a request is from a visitor, it will be sent back.
To help protect against DDoS attacks, there are several guidelines to follow. We recommend that the main company systems are kept up to date and the main company network is secure for only employees to use. There should be a set amount of employees within the company that have access to the main data center. This will help to keep the data center secure. The company should also have a plan of action in case of a DDoS attack. There should be a system checklist that would be implemented in case of an emergency. There should be a response team set in case of an emergency, along with a list of both internal and external contacts from the company.
For educational solutions, make sure workers and staff understand the warning signs and symptoms of a DDoS attack, which can include network slowdown as well as spotty connectivity. In order to take quick action, educate workers on being aware of their responsibilities during a DDoS attack and whom to contact in case of an attack. Set and announce some clear goals at group meetings frequently. Make sure everyone has a clearly defined role so the manager can identify the skills for everyone and make adjustments if needed so they can make the whole program more efficient. They can also incorporate training programs for workers to experience some simulations of a DDoS attack. In this way, workers can know what to expect and how they can prepare to make correct decisions when it occurs.
All in all, DDoS attacks are a growing threat. However, businesses are taking action to protect themselves against these types of attacks. This includes technical solutions such as keeping the network infrastructure up to date, creating policies that set guidelines to minimize DDoS attacks, and educating employees about the signs and risks of DDoS attacks.